All right, hello everyone. Today we're talking to Rory Berry, who is a coach, trainer, mentor for people who have lost their mojo. Rory, great to have you.
That's a great way to describe it. I'll take that. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. This was a long time in the making. I had been following you for a long time, really like your posts, and I was quite impressed with you, and we're going to get through that later on. I was very impressed with the fact that you have a very high engagement to follower ratio. So you have some 2,200 followers, and regularly you're getting posts that have 40, 50 likes and maybe even more. So we're going to be talking about that, how you made that happen, what is your content philosophy, and yeah, just generally how you build your business on LinkedIn.
Awesome. I'm happy to share to see if it can help someone else.
Cool. Awesome. So Rory, can you give us just a little bit of a background into what were you only recently started going full-time on your coaching business. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've been doing before and yeah, how this whole genesis of the Roaring Berry Brain Jam started?
Awesome. Yeah. So I had a full-time job and I've been doing this on the side, part-time, the classic side hustle, for just under 2 years as a full-time side hustle, if that makes sense, scaling and growing and getting things. And I'm really, really fortunate that in these, and I hate to use the phrase, unprecedented times, I've just had a lot of people reach out and ask if I can support them through this time by having those brain jams and just listening, sharing, asking the questions, providing a space for them to rage against the machine in the world, and then be able to refine their mojo and continue on with their day, their week, their month, their year.
What does that mean, the lost my mojo? How does that manifest? What is the generally the, or let me ask you in this way, what are the words that people use that make you notice that they are somebody who you could work with?
I mean, very often the phrase, I just feel like I've lost my mojo, is something that people will say at the beginning of the journey with me.
Interesting.
Often it's a sense of loss of purpose, or just walking and trying to run through quicksand, but not getting anywhere, but drudging and and then we just look at the what's, the where's, the how's, and we try and remove feelings and emotions, but because as important as they are, they have this unique ability to absolutely wreck our plans.
Yeah.
Because we can get run by them, and then we try and reframe and recalibrate some of the ways we look at things, we talk about things, what are we focusing on, etc., etc., etc. So we look at things like awe, wonder, and joy, which are feeling words, but positive words. Some people will say, oh, but that's a gratitude journal. Yes, technically it is, but I can be grateful for my car. It doesn't necessarily going to bring me awe, wonder, and joy unless it's clean, which doesn't happen often. So reframing and refocusing on where we look at things, how we focus things, how we talk about things, what language we use to build us up versus break us down, what the ratios are of those, and things like that.
Okay, great. And so I've noticed you obviously on LinkedIn. Can you tell me a little bit about what your client acquisition strategy, if you have any, is on LinkedIn? Is it just putting out great content and people will come to you, or do you also start messaging with people?
My initial philosophy was embrace being fully me and just putting me out there, because I mean, some of my posts even about like embrace your inner Marmite, and Marmite, as if people are familiar with it, is kind of like Vegemite, and it's one of those, you're a yes or no person with that. There's generally no fence sitting. And when you embrace your inner Marmite, you are 100% authentically you, and people that are your people will gravitate towards you, and those are the people you're going to be working with. And the people that are like, he is nuts, are not going to be involved or interested or engaged, and that's okay. And a lot of
polarize. So polarize is another word for that.
Yes, polarize, but like positive polarizing versus controversial, like being an absolute asshat polarizing, and because nobody wants that guy either.
But wait, that's interesting. What is a positive way to polarize, and what's a negative way? If I, for example, today, just to give you an example, today I put out the kind of don't follow people with a loser mindset on LinkedIn. And I said, like, which topics are those that I stop following? Like if somebody posts about that, I'm going to stop following them. I think that's quite controversial and polarizing. Would you say this is a positive or negative way?
I would say that's a positive.
Okay. And so where do you draw the distinction?
I would say, and this is it is a very personal journey on this, but it's also got to do with things like discrimination, things like being controversial for controversial sake. So yeah, I'm not going to swear now, but there are people that, you know, stand up, and there's an old advertising and an analogy of people that are F you in a church people. If you stand up in a church and yell F you, everyone's going to look at you, but a lot of them are going to think you're a bit of a dick.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
And so alternatively, I can just embrace being fully me, and I'm not necessarily offending anyone, but they're not all going to be like, I like his special brand of madness, or I'm not really involved with like that geek weirdo nature tree hugging guy. Not my vibe, and that's fine.
Is that you? Are you a tree hugging type?
I do like my trees. I do like wandering in nature. I do like hanging out in my garden, but I also have Dobby sitting right here, as well as a baby Yoda. So I'm a geek and a tree hugger, and yeah, that's just me.
Good stuff. Great. So that is part of your recipe for great content. Anything else comes to mind with that when you look at other people's content where you think, yeah, if they adopted a little bit of my content strategy, they would be doing better? Anything else that comes to mind to how you do content?
I think it's got to be personal, and it doesn't always have to be topical. So like right now, it would be tempting to post and talk about, you know, elections in the US.
Yep.
Or So, and there's nothing wrong with jumping on that bandwagon if you can make it relevant without being like the world's biggest stretch.
Yeah.
So like it's good versus evil, and yes, inside you have a fight of good versus, like, come on, like we're now stretching.
Yeah.
So I would say the more authentic you can be within the realm of, we all know it's curated content.
Yep.
The better.
Okay.
And
great.
Celebrate and be honest about the crap days too.
Good. So what I was thinking would be great to do in the last 2-3 minutes is if I could share my screen and we could go through some of your latest content. You could give us a bit of a background into what the genesis of it was. Before we do that, quickly, could you tell us about, you told me before we switched on the recording button, that you got yourself a client who came purely from your content. Can you tell me that story again?
Yeah. I've just recently started with a new client, and this individual, I don't know how long they'd potentially been following me for, but they said, I've been following your content for a little while. I think we'd be a great fit. Would you be happy to have a call? And I literally did no external marketing in the direction of this individual other than just being fully me, putting out my stuff in my way. And it resonated with this individual, and they have now, well, they've come on a coaching journey with me.
Yeah. Awesome. Great. So I'm going to share my screen now. Let me see where that is. And we can take a look. Okay. Can you take us through some of your posts? Any of them that stand out that did particularly well? I can scroll through. You can stop me.
There's actually, if you keep scrolling up.
Up or down?
One person's up as the other person's down. So that post there with me, which I did yesterday, I've had a really busy week and I actually haven't posted for 2 days. And a lot of people are like, oh, you have to post every day. I don't believe that. If I don't have anything useful to say and I'm really tired and wiped out in a day, I'm not necessarily going to post. I post most days, but this has been a particularly mental week. That post, I popped up. Now, once again, I haven't been busy. So potentially, you know, the old algorithm then goes, oh, no, he's rubbish, and we'll put him into the ether. I think there was over 400 views on that post, and there's still quite a lot of engagement on it, considering I hadn't been online for a good couple of days.
Yep.
There's another post which is slightly further down in my feed, which is about sitting, waiting for my wife to get home. Actually, that post there, the one with the photo with my dogs, I literally put it up because it was a real reminder that sometimes we can find, and I talk about specifically the awe, wonder, and joy in that post, which I talk about a lot with my clients. We sometimes assume that you can only find these positive words in positive situations. Like that's not sunny. It was windy, it was cold, it was rainy. It was still an amazing adventure. And it was a good reminder for me to for myself, and then I use that hashtag Nature Banter Club, which is a fun little mischief. And it got a ton of engagement from people that were going, yes, absolutely, we see and we agree with that. That mushrooms in a meadow one, once again, I was literally out on a walk, just goofing around, and I saw this thing and I was like, oh, that's such a great photo. Could it be mushrooms in a meadow? Or is it, once again, finding that all wonder and joy in the supposedly mundane? And especially as adults, we're really good at being boring. And I say that with love and respect, but we forget that we're allowed to still play and find this all wonder and joy, because we've got this weird sort of, oh, I'm older than 21, I have to be grown. Oh, I must be serious now, I'm being grown up. And I like to call BS on that because it's not true. Then then I posted last week about the getting to do something for the first time, paying my first salary, which for me was a really big thing.
Wow, 148, look at that.
Yeah. And it was a really big thing for me, and I wanted to share it because I wanted to use it as an encouragement, especially in this year. When it is so easy to get caught up in the stuff of going on around us. I wanted to encourage people to keep dreaming, keep chasing their dreams, etc., etc. And as you see, 140 odd, and a lot of comments and replies and things. And one of the things that I would say is talk to the people that comment. Reply to comments is how you build your engagement. A lot of people will only like a comment and not engage back. Even a thank you is big.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that I've got quite a good engagement level for the number of followers that I've got. There's no right or wrong way to do any of these things. And a lot of people said to me at the beginning, well, like, just connect with everyone. Just connect. You can get like X number a day. Just connect. And it didn't sit right with me. I wanted to build relationships. Now, obviously, that necessarily is not going to scale in the same way, because when it gets to 20,000 people to do the exact same level of engagement that I'm doing now could be tricksy, and it'll be like a full-time job to just go on LinkedIn. And unless somebody's paying me for that, I'm going to need to make money somewhere else.
But I mean, you get the inbound traffic from that as well. Then you're going to get the clients.
Yes. So for me, I made an intentional point of, I've connected with some people that I liked their content. I engaged in their comments, and other people saw me engaging in their content, and then the banter that happened there. Out of that, some people started to then connect with me, and then we started to banter accordingly. And I'll often get connection requests as a result of a second or third level connection commenting on my post, and then me engaging in reply on their comments. And as a result of that, then you get the connect request.
Absolutely. No, I would almost say that comments are more important than your own content. That if you cannot spare the time, you absolutely cannot, at least make it a habit of like taking 5 people who are in your target market, or influencers who themselves attract your target market, and just 5 comments, something thoughtful, and just keep doing that. That's at least something that will get you visibility with the relevant people.
Yeah, absolutely. All day.
Okay. Rory, thank you so very much for taking the time. Brilliant.
No worries at all.